So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to ask you guys to take about 60 seconds in turns and introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about you, whatever you would like, really, and maybe something about your policies, ideas, what it is that you want to do if the students select you. So, David, do you want to go first? You can feel free to stand up if you like, or you can just sit down. It's up to you.
Yeah, sure. Oh, God. Hi, everyone. I'm David. I'm running for Community SAB this year. It's a little bit different from previous years. It's not just the environment and ethics. It's also about getting student involvement really up and running. Turnout's been low at elections and stuff, and people want to be represented on campus. So I want to be your voice on campus. We're a huge community together. We're not just students, we're also the residents in Old Aberdeen. So I have a few ideas to kind of get more people involved online with the environment. I want to work with, cooperative campaigns, kind of fair trade and stuff, and for ethics, who we advertise with, and make sure that the SAB team is all very visible to you and you know what we're doing. So, yeah, I'm David. My hashtag is BetterVoteDave because I like Netflix. So please keep me in mind.
Thank you, David. We'll just now move on to our next candidate, who is Zainab. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Zainab, and I'm running for the position of Communities Officer. Basically, I'm a master's student in International and International Relations, and I want to be your voice as a Communities Officer. Basically, I have a mission to work with everyone here and try to promote our relationship between the local and the students and to carry everyone along as much as possible as I can. And trust me, I assure you of my utmost commitment towards achieving that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zainab. And last but not least, we have Lewis. Lewis, do you want to say something about yourself? 60 seconds.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Lewis. I'm a fourth year English literature student. I've got a cold, and I'm running to be your communities officer. So basically, I'm kind of running on a platform of like three main things. So that's having fairer housing, basically lower rents for everyone, both in terms of student halls and also in the wider Aberdeen city area. I've done quite a lot of activism with the Living Rent campaign, campaigning to lower rents across Scotland. So I feel like that's experience I can bring to this campus and something that we can get students really engaged in. And I also want to see more cheap and ethical food on campus. So as part of doing that, I would look to reopen Shared Planet Cafe. It's a very ethical, healthy food initiative run by students for students. It's only £1 for soup, so it's really a win-win. And also, I'd be looking at getting more financial support available, looking at both a national level to lobby the government for living grants for everyone, and also to have the hardship fund extended to international students, and for it to be available all through the summer months, so that we can have a community that all of us can afford to participate in.
Okay, so now that we've had our openers, the way we're going to go about this is, in total, we're going to have 8 questions for each of the candidates. Hopefully, if you guys are kind enough to contribute, so please do. Don't want to make false promises. So the communities officers have already had a chance to see the first 2 questions, and the reason for that is because the first 2 questions are going to be applicable to all the positions, so they're not role specific. So we didn't want them to be disadvantaged, so they already have the first question for the past 15 minutes. So sorry about that. Right, so let's see. These are all questions that were submitted by students. Actually, maybe some of you are here, so thank you for that. The first one is, communications between AUSA and the majority of students can be very limited. How would you make sure to get our message out there and get student buy-in on our activities? Zainab, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, to answer the question, basically we all know that the major form of communication among students right now is social networks, social media. So I plan on actually working majorly with social networks to more like get our message across online and try to incorporate various school department heads. The major secretaries would tend to like send out messages to students in various schools in the university, basically just to get our information across to the students, because majorly most students don't get messages, and even when they get the messages, like, it's more like many people don't even pay attention to what is in their inbox. And I can tell from experience that not many people even check their mails. So what we will try to do, students tend to pay more attention to messages coming from their schools rather than even the social media. So apart from social media, I plan on incorporating the various schools to get that across to them. That's my major line of thinking. Thank you.
Thank you. David, do you want to go next? Same question?
Yeah, sure. A big part of my manifesto commitments is to have a bigger online presence at Aberdeen. At the moment, one of the ways to get information across to students is the whiteboard outside, letting people know what's going on, and that's kind of not really efficient. What I want to do is to get AUSA out of the building and on campus, so it's not just social networks, it's also campaigning. But online, I want to have more debates like this in here, getting more diverse groups kind of involved with student debates, and having more regular updates from the SABs. So maybe not weekly or bi-weekly, fortnightly, having just like a quick 30 seconds from whoever gets elected in each year, just saying how their projects are going and, what they've got coming up and what they've achieved. So, cheers.
All right, thank you. Lewis, same question to you.
Sure, yeah. No, communication is pretty terrible with AUSA at the moment. I think one of the keys to doing this is just making sure that we're actually out talking to students on campus. It's kind of the thing that AUSA doesn't really have a public face. Most people don't really know who the SABs are because they never really see them. They're kind of locked up in the office. So it'd be really about actually engaging students in kind of all the different campaigns that I would be looking to run as your communities officer and getting people involved with that. And also, social media is definitely an effective tool, but I think we need to maybe look at more creative ways of using it, engaging people in maybe sometimes Snapchat, Yik Yak, using lots of different formats that students really engage with, and using that to get them involved with AUSA.
Okay, thank you. Right, so I should have mentioned, I did kindly ask the candidates to stick to roughly 45 seconds, 60 seconds, no, thank you very much for that. You were very much on point. So first test passed, I guess. Right, so our second question for you guys, again, this applies to all the positions, so I do encourage the other candidates here in the audience to keep an ear out for that. Our second question, also from a student that I met yesterday, is our equality networks, formerly known as our liberation forums. So our women's group, our LGBTQ+ forum, disability, BME, international students, the 8 of them, they are very crucial to our mission and values. What would you do to support them and incorporate their input into the project that your role undertakes, every project that your specific role undertakes? Lewis, I'm going to start with you first.
Sure. I would definitely be looking to work with all the liberation forums on all of my campaigns. So, for example, with Husting, it's something that disproportionately affects women, disproportionately affects working class students and international students, as well as LGBTQ and BME students. So that's something that I'd be looking to get everyone engaged with on that part. And additionally with financial support as well, I mentioned in my intro that one of my policies for better financial support would be extending the hardship fund so that it is available to international students. And the fact that it would be available all through the summer months as well would really benefit student parents, student carers who really struggle over the summer months to keep afloat there, as well as working class students. So I'd definitely be looking at getting all the different liberation forums involved in all of my campaigns.
Okay, thank you. David, do you want to go next, please?
I agree with Lewis. A lot of people are disadvantaged on campus. I think it's not just housing. International students also need help with references and banking and getting jobs. It's very hard when you're coming over here. To work with the equal ops people, the societies doesn't have a sabbatical officer anymore, but will work with whoever's elected to that position next year, get them involved with societies and volunteering, kind of cross-society events. The communities officer represents people at the old Aberdeen Community Council, where you're kind of defending students, and they're not just drinking and causing trouble. They're part of the community. They're interested in making it a better campus. So it's representing on a number of panels.
Great, thank you. And Zainab?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with my fellow candidates here, but basically what I plan to do is the importance of getting international students involved can't be overemphasized, because apart from international students, the other groups involved as well, we all have one or two things we're struggling with on campus. So like he rightly said, like the old Aberdeen Community Council meeting is a very good platform and forum to actually represent our interests and concerns, which I intend to do. And to further on that, I also intend to work with the cooperation of every student. If it could walk up to me as a SAB officer, I'll try my utmost best to put my effort into making sure that their concerns are addressed. Thank you.
Great, thank you guys very much. We'll move on now to the role-specific questions. So here comes the unknown territory, but not scary territory. So again, these are questions from students who fortunately prefer to remain anonymous. So I don't actually have the permission to tell you their names, but they're great because they actually supplied me with these. Which reminds me, please go on the hashtag and submit questions for our candidates here so we can take them later on after this set, or write on your cards and Ian and Will there will come collect them. Right, so first question, and I'm gonna ask you, Zainab, to go first. How will you engage with the immediate community and better our links with local residents in the area?
Basically, to answer that question, I'm not really going to make any total promises, but what I can say for sure is to work on the, to promote the good work of the past team, and to build on that to actually improve our relationship with the local community. Because if there is one thing I know for a fact, is the fact that most of the local community don't like students around them because of so many minor crimes, so to say. So I intend to actually work on that and to promote our working relationship with the local community, basically. Thank you.
Good, thank you very much. Lewis, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so in terms of building links with the local community, you know, that's something that's super, super important. And obviously it's been brought up that a lot of people in the local community don't particularly like students. So, you know, one of my policies, as I was talking about earlier, about reopening Shared Planet Cafe. So previously when that was open, it was not just open to students and staff at the university, it was also open, you know, to members of the local community. We actually had a 7-year-old boy want to have his birthday party there. So there's actually, you know, a lot of great links that we can be making with the local community through initiatives like that, and by showing that we are active citizens and that we want to welcome the local community into our space as well.
Good, thank you. Right, so just to be annoying one last time, I don't see a lot of hands. So I'm hoping that the hashtag, which I can check is full of questions. Right, so last question on this set is, oh, sorry, David. Oh, apologies, I'm very, very sorry.
Oh, you can
It's
move
been a
on
long
if you
day.
want.
It's been a long day. You can, yeah.
Could I hear the first question again? Sorry.
Yeah, of course, of course. Very sorry about that. Right, so how will you engage with the immediate community and better our links with the local residents? And you know what? I'll give you 15 extra seconds just because I'm very sorry.
Oh, bless.
Bless.
One of the main remits of the communities officer is to work with primary and secondary outreach programs and get students involved with school projects. So part of that is kind of coordinating with the sabbatical team to get students, you know, vocationally and academically involved with the community through schools. Also, we sit on the Old Aberdeen Council, which is, at the moment, it's a slightly limited number of people. It's a few councillors and the police and stuff. What I'd want to do as communities officer is get people from like the local mosque and Islamic centre more involved, not just with like community litter picks and stuff, and also like, you know, Catholic, Protestant churches, humanist, you know, people as well. And I'd also want like representatives from like Cape Brewster Primary and Sunnybank Primary School on the council and along to more meetings, just so we can kind of coordinate properly our efforts to make students look, you know, willing to help out.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, so my last question for you guys would be, and again, I promise I didn't ask this, I really promise. But would you support the current campaign for more lighting in Seaton Park? And if yes, how would you carry on that work? David, would you be happy to go first, or Zainab? If you're not?
Yeah.
David,
okay.
yeah? Thank you.
Seton Park, everyone hears it in first year, don't go there, it's dark, it's scary, someone's going to jump out at you. It's a lovely place as well, and it's a shame it's not used more by students and people don't feel safe there. So part of that is, as the sabbatical team at AUSA, is to get more housing and work with the council. More lighting, it shouldn't be that hard. It might take a while, it might be expensive. Also lighting, I think, on campus is very orange and sodium and probably not very efficient. So probably work with lighting on campus as well, get it more kind of blue LEDs, kind of like nice, low, environmentally friendly kind of lighting in Seton and on campus.
Okay, thank you. Lewis, do you want to go next, please?
Yeah, sure. No, I definitely would support the campaign for more lighting in Seton Park. I think the safety of our students is of absolute paramount importance. What I would do is I would also make sure that, there's been talk in current plans that the lighting would kind of just be in the main area, but there's issues there with obviously the kind of paths going up to Hillhead, where that would still be very dark and quite treacherous, and could lead to quite lots of nasty falls and things like that, and still leave students vulnerable and unsafe. So I'd really want to make sure that that's extended so that it's fully lit all the way through Seton Park. And the way to do that, I think, we're talking about building links with our local community. And I think as a communities officer, I would work to establish those links, and they can only help in getting that project completed as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
Great. Zainab, please.
One of the most important roles for communities officers, not just to promote the relationship between the local community and the student, but to also help to promote the environment of the students so that the students can feel safe. So I, for one, would support the fact that lighting should actually be installed in the city park, not just for safety, but to also give confidence to us, because I, for one, I do pass through that route and I don't feel safe going there at night because anything can actually happen. So left to me, I support it for the safety of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now let's see how we do this. We have a card over there that I can see if Will's running about to collect it. And I'm just going to receive some questions now. I do like my runners. Okay, I actually am not sure if this is from, this must be from Twitter. Okay, well, let's see. Very exciting. Thank you. You'll see a lot of this if you submit a lot of questions, which I do thank you for. Right, so maybe I'll leave this for the end because it's very interesting. So the first one is, how are you planning to engage primary schools, secondary schools, and community groups? Zainab, do you want to start?
Basically, my plan for that, actually, because I have a previous experience working with the UN back home, so I plan on building on that experience. The UN has various days being celebrated, and most of it, for example, the Children's Day, May 27th. It's a very good platform to actually engage kids both in primary schools and secondary schools, and to do some major outreach affecting their lives, basically, and educating them on the importance of these days and how it could help them further their future. So basically, that's my plan for promoting the communication, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. Lewis, please. It's a lot of juggling.
Yeah, in terms of engaging primary and secondary schools as well as community groups, I'd really be looking to work primarily, with the sports officer, because obviously there's a lot of great work there in terms of sports outreach, active schools program. I know a lot of students are involved with that. And I'd also be looking to work with the Liberation Forum groups as well, to kind of educate primary and secondary school kids on the importance of liberation issues. It's something I personally had no education of in school at all, and it was absolutely terrible. And it's something that we really need to do something about. So those would be kind of two of the main ways that I would really look to engage with primary and secondary schools and outreach there.
Thank you. And David?
Yeah, sure. It should be a very easy job. There's so many primary and secondary schools just in the local area. It's very easy they're just a phone call away to arrange meetings. We can have sabbatical officers and student volunteers from the LIB groups or the Equal Ops groups go there. We can have talks. We can have them here on a stage like this, and we can have it filmed and online. We can promote it, up the wazoo online, just like getting our exposure and making a really good name for students. And probably organizing, also working with education officer, kind of volunteering stuff as well. Sorry, I've
Well, that's
brain fart.
Thank you, guys. Well, that's the dream. Right, so we have one more question, which is, do you plan to use posters to promote AUSA events? And will this extend to the library or the info hub? David, would you be happy going first?
Yeah, sure. It depends if the library and the info hub want kind of AUSA promotional material in there. I think they should be very open to it. Part of the remit of communities is to look after the environment. A lot of people say, oh, we should use as little paper as possible. So not just posters, because people can ignore posters. They're very easy to just block out when you're in a hurry on the way to class. So hashtags and so lots of social media presence. I think we're a little underrepresented in that sense. So just keeping it very consistent.
Thank you. Okay, Zainab, would you be happy going next?
Yeah, most definitely, but to the extent which it is allowed, permitted, but I think I'll do more of the social networking and also do the handbills, not more of posters per se, but I could actually go for posters as well, but not too much of posters, majorly handbills.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd definitely be looking to use posters. I think definitely social media is important, but often we find that with social media, you're kind of going for an audience that are already somewhat engaged with AUSA. People need to sort of like the page or be involved in some way. So posters really help, get people involved that aren't already engaged with AUSA. And as part of kind of building in with the local community, I'd also be looking to make sure that we've got posters up in kind of all the surrounding bars around the campus, definitely in the Bobbin and stuff like that, just to make sure, when you're having a wee bev, you might see something that's of interest, you might actually want to go to an AUSA event, and that would be a great time. So I would definitely be looking to utilise that in my campaign.
Right, thank you, guys. Just two more questions, very brief. So, very importantly, actually, do your ideas and plans extend to the Foresterhill campus that currently is underrepresented? Zainab, if you could go first, please.
Most definitely, because it's an obvious fact that the Foresterhill see more of the segregated campus. So my major focus actually is the Foresterhill and the Hillhead as well, because I plan on carrying everybody along as much as possible. But one thing I've observed is the much focus is on this campus rather than on Foresterhill and on Hillhead. And for me, that is kind of like a strategy that would work better. So I would definitely explore Foresterhill and Hillhead more than this campus. But I would carry everybody along as much as I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, please.
Yeah, sure, I'm okay. People, I think, do take for granted that Foresterhill is part of us. It's computing and medicine's up there. So whether, I don't know if we'd have the money, but maybe an idea to set up an office up there so there's like a physical presence. But yeah, it's going to be part of our campaigning. I'm going to have a team up there. Hopefully there'll be a banner. It's making sure people feel part of it. We still have our Foresterhill convener position, or did that?
We will.
We will, yeah.
Hopefully.
It's still hard work, though, because, the medicine, medical students don't have a lot of time to volunteer, unpaid position, it's not a sabbatical year you're taking out. But definitely working Foresterhill and Hillhead, making sure everyone has access to AUSA, or at the very least, there's a contact number on the website, and you know who to send an email to. But yeah, I think we need to work more on including Foresterhill.
Thank you, Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely. Foresterhill is definitely a key part of my kind of plan as your communities officer. In my manifesto, you'll see that as part of the cheaper and more ethical food component, we currently get some free food. It's kind of like leftovers from a bakery in town. So we get that twice a week, and it just comes into Johnson here. So I'd actually be looking to extend that so that it's available to Foresterhill students. So that's just kind of working with local businesses so that we all kind of have some free food, which is absolutely excellent. And especially in the housing aspect of it as well. While I'm working on student halls, I'm also working on rents in Aberdeen more broadly. So it wouldn't just be focusing on kind of around the old Aberdeen area, but also up in kind of Hilton, North Anderson Drive, the kind of areas that students who go to Foresterhill would be more likely to live in. So making sure that that really has a massive impact on them as well.
Good. Okay, guys, thank you very much. This is the last question before I'm going to ask you if you have any closing remarks for 30 seconds this time. But yeah, so the last question is, and Lewis, if you could start, it's as simple as it is good, and it's, why do you want this job?
Wow, okay. I really want this job because I'm very passionate about representation. I'm passionate about being involved in campaigns, about actually engaging with people, going out and chatting to folk about rent controls, about like getting lower rents, about making cheaper food happen on our campus. And I think being a paid full-time officer would give me the opportunity to really make a difference here at AUSA, to actually get people involved and it not just be the same sort of people involved with AUSA doing the same things. It's going to be different, vibrant, and that's why I really want to be your communities officer. I want to have lower rents in Aberdeen. I want to make sure that there's cheaper food for all students, and I want to make sure that international students can access the hardship fund. That's why I want this job.
Thank you. Zainab, do you want to follow up?
Yeah, cheap food, cheap housing, very important. But more than that is to carry everyone along, especially international students. We know how hard it could be to come into a country you're not used to, and there's no readily available jobs for you to do, and there's one hardship or the other, or you don't have accommodation or something. So I really want this job to be able to represent not just them, but as well as the LGBT, the women's group, and everybody concerned. I want to be somebody accessible to every student here, that you can walk up to me anytime you see me and address your concerns. I know that I'm a very accessible person, and I could be very dedicated as well to my job. So I really, really do ask for your support, basically, and assure you of my utmost dedication and commitment to this work. And that is all I can tell you for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Zainab. And David, please.
I've been kind of involved with HAUSA through working with the Creative Writing Society. I'm the treasurer, so I've been filling out development plans, and I work with Gaudi at the Student Media, and I've had a lot of chatting with just HAUSA reps and stuff. So I wanted to get involved in that process, go up a level and kind of give back. That sounds really terrible and cheesy. And I have to admit, there's also slightly selfish reasons. I'm really interested in getting the work experience, kind of the vocational experience to kind of, my degree at the moment is English and film, and I'd like to go into maybe like marketing or like, I don't know, radio or kind of communications, like working at Cineworld or View in the head office. And it'd be a really wonderful opportunity to get that communications experience as the next step up. So slightly selfish, but I also want to be there for you, It's tough being at uni.
Preach. Thank you guys very much. So now finally, after you've been kind enough to answer that whirlwind of questions, would you be happy with delighting us with 30 seconds of your time to tell us your closing remarks? And I'm going to start with David and then go to Zainab and then end with Lewis. So David, if you want to go first.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for everyone for coming along today and listening to all of us. Main things I want to get done. I want to get a huge online presence. I want an accredited housing list or a white list. I want to stop advertising with Amazon in here because I think they're kind of an ethical company. So I'd lobby against that. Just because we're from different backgrounds on campus, doesn't mean we don't all have very common problems. So I'd want us to work together, as a united kind of community, as cheesy as it sounds. I want us to all be friends and kind of get on. So, yeah. Cheers.
Thank you, David.
# better vote Dave.
Zainab.
I want to say a very big thank you to everybody and for the patience for listening to every one of us here. Thank you very much. And I want to solicit for your support and assure you of my dedication. I really can't overemphasize that I'm really a dedicated person. And I can assure you that I can move the position, basically I can work in my capacity to move the association forward. Most importantly, to represent our concerns and interests at the Old Aberdeen Community Council meetings, because that is like the best platform to actually express our concerns, basically, and to carry everybody along. Like Dave rightly said, we might come from different backgrounds, but we most definitely have common problems, and I intend basically to promote this position and to help everybody as much as I can. Thank you.
Thank you. And Lewis?
Yeah, I'm very, very passionate about being your communities officer. I believe I've created a manifesto that kind of applies to all students, things that kind of affect most people on campus, you know, housing, food, financial support. These are absolutely critical things that do affect almost everyone on campus, and I really want to make an active change in making that better and easier for everyone here. So for lower rents, cheaper food, and better financial support, please vote Lewis MacLeod #1 for your communities officer.
Please vote Zainab #1. Communities officer.
David, do you have
I
anything
can't
to add?
imagine I skipped that.
One last word in, David.
Please vote Zainab #1 for communities officers. Your voice, I promise.
Thank you guys very much.